This week on The Real Housewives of Orange County.
Leave my family alone.
Okay.
I just moved into that man's house. My kids
I'm
are
so
good.
happy.
My kids are with me and good and happy. Leave me the alone. I want no part of your bullshit. You attack.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the new episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 18, Episode 15. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's get right into it. Okay, so the ladies are still in their cast trip, London. They're all waking up to a new day. Emily and Shannon are having breakfast together. Shannon feels a little better, not the best, because the previous night was so bad. Shannon really could not have imagined that night was going to go like that. Tamra and Katie go to this cool spa in the hotel. They had these cool things that are like, I think like made out of rock. They're kind of warm, so they lay on them. But anyway, Katie is asking Tamra some questions about Shannon, and I like Katie, but they seemed like they were some pretty judgy questions. She was asking Tamra things like, well, why can't Shannon ever sit down and talk? Why does she always have to get up and leave? Or saying things like, oh, it sounds like Shannon has problem paying the bills. And Tamra says, yeah, she does. She likes to spend as if she were a millionaire. So it was just a really messy conversation. Then they talk about Jen. And Tamara starts to bring up again more stuff about the FBI and Ryan. She keeps doubling down. It's crazy how she maliciously brings this up and then tries to act like she's concerned for Jen. Like, cut it out, Tamara. We all know you're being mean spirited, so just save yourself. Talking about, I'm worried about her. No, you're not. You're not. Then Gina and Jen go to the pool, so everyone was like in their little pairs. Gina tells Jen about the message that Shannon showed her the night before. It was a text that Shannon found that Alexis sent her back in 2018, where Alexis was telling Shannon that her and her husband were going to sue her. And this is significant because Alexis to this point has been claiming that she never sued Shannon, so this is proof that she lied. Jen is very surprised to hear about this, and she says that Tamra probably knows about this text, but that Tamra is so set on going up against Shannon right now that she's willing to ignore everything, including this lawsuit, which, by the way, Tamra was also affected by it, so it's crazy that she's not talking about it. Gina and Jen also think that Heather was being ridiculous the night before. They say that, because remember, Heather said that she felt used by Shannon, and they disagree with her comment about them not checking up on her when they went to go take their mammograms. And Gina also tells Jen some tea. So, back when they had Shannon's tea party, Heather was talking crap about Jen over the dress that she wore because it was a $2,000 dress. So then Fancy Pants goes up to Shannon's room where she's having breakfast with Emily, and it kills me how she comes in all nonchalant saying, let's effing talk about last night. And Shannon's like, Heather, I'm blown away by what you said last night. Shannon confided in Heather. She was being vulnerable, and Shannon and Heather had also agreed that that conversation was going to stay private. But, now Heather's talking about, I felt used. Heather's defense against Shannon right now is that Shannon can't be mad about this because Shannon brought it up on Jeff Lewis's podcast. Wow, it's unbelievable how this woman, Heather, is incapable of not only being loyal, but owning up to her mistakes. Shannon says that she can bring up what she wants to bring up on any radio show because she's actively got two people attacking her in public, which are John and Alexis. Then Shannon gets up and goes to grab a handful of folded, wrinkled up papers. It would look like an undone notebook of payments that were made during the time she dated John. I was like, damn, when did Shannon date him? 2022 or 1922? Like, who gave that everything written down? But it was a lot. So, a little later, the whole group gets together because at the end of the day, they're here in London, so they want to have some fun. Shannon gave all the ladies some capes and some tiaras, and then they get on top of this cool bus. They're on top of it, strolling the city. So they had a lot of fun doing that. Eventually, Gina tells Heather, I went to bed last night, and with this whole mammogram thing, I don't get it. And Heather says, well, what don't you get? Gina says, well, I feel bad about how you felt, but you told us not to talk about it before we got there. And Heather says, no, I told you not to talk about my family's history, but we could talk about me. Shannon again says, well, we heard some cheering within the room, so we thought everything was good. And Heather says, listen, y'all didn't check up on me, and nothing changes that fact in that moment. Gina says, and did that moment really affect you that much? And Heather says, yes, it did. And Gina says, well, so Gina's like, well, why did you wait until we got here to tell us? And Heather says, well, you're the one bringing it up now. And Gina says, yeah, well, I'm bringing it up because the way that it's coming at us, like, it feels like you're trying to say that I'm not a good enough friend. Heather says, well, that's your problem. But Gina says that she feels like Heather's has very high expectations of her as a friend. And Heather says, oh, so I guess that my expectation should not be for you to go around with some girl who's been talking bad about me. She was talking about Katie. And Gina says, well, it goes both ways. If you go and you're sitting next to Andy Cohen and he's making shady comments about my house, whether I own it or not, you should defend me. And Gina was referencing a moment from Watch What Happens Live. But again, Heather can't apologize. She always just finds a way to gaslight you, to tell you why you're wrong and feeling upset at her. Heather ends the conversation by completely dismissing Gina. She says, this is BS. This is, she said the full word. And this is exhausting. When they get off the bus, Gina tells Emily, I'm never bringing up this stuff to her again. Like, it's not even worth it. So the group splits up. Shannon, Gina, Emily, and Jen get off. And oh my gosh, they bought some street french fries that looked so good. Heather, Tamra, and Katie got off at this fancy chocolate store where apparently the queen used to go there. So that first group, they are shopping around, and then Shannon has an idea to go to this little place where you can dress up as like medieval time characters and take pictures. So that was nice. So one of the things that these four ladies are talking about is that Tamra and Heather are very rude people, and when they come together, they're like even more wicked. And well, they're right. I'm also glad Gina is realizing that Heather can't control her feelings. Heather's no one to be dictating when you can be upset, how long you can be upset, or if you can even be upset at all. So it is much later that day. They have gone back to the hotel, they've gotten ready, and it's, like I said, later that day, and they're heading to a restaurant for dinner. It looked very elegant. Shannon says that her daughters are in Paris right now, and they're going to try and come to London before the cast leaves so they can see her. So they ordered, the food got there, and then Jen is going to make sure that she asks the question. So she asks Heather, did you have a problem with me or with the dress that I wore to the tea party? And Heather says, oh no, I went to Neiman's Marcus and I saw your dress and I told Tamra, oh my gosh, did Jen buy a $2,000 dress? And Jen asks, well, why? Did you ask her? And Heather says, oh, well, I was worried about you because you told us that you were only getting $600 a month, remember? Tamra says, yeah, it was coming from a good place. We don't want to make you feel like you have to spend a lot. And Jen is like, what is it to y'all? Now, Emily and all of them they all have something to say. Oh, Jen has no job. Nobody knows what Ryan does. She likes to spend beyond her means. Is all of that true? Yes, but these women have never brought up any of these things as a concern. It's always been like as a judgment. But I will say Heather apologized. Now, it was the most monotone apology, but it's something. Then Jen addresses Tamara about her going ballistic on her. Most importantly on Ryan. And Jen says, listen, that's my man. That's my partner. You cannot be yelling at him and bringing up all these accusations. And Tamara says, okay, I apologize for doing that. Jen is like, okay, I think the poor girl is so like, she sees the best in people that I think she believed Tamara's apology. So then Shannon says, well, I would like to ask Tamara something. She says, when I found out the text that Alexis sent me from 2018 and I sent it to you, you read it. Why haven't you brought this up? Why haven't you brought it up to Alexis? Tamara says, well, that's between you and Alexis. So Emily speaks up and defends Shannon by saying that everything Shannon does or says is scrutinized, but they're giving Alexis all of these passes. Shannon tells Tamara, it's simple. Just stop talking about me. Tamara says, well, you stop talking about me. And Shannon says, all I said was that you had a big ego. And Tamra says, well, the one with the biggest ego is the one that doesn't want to pay $75,000 because she thinks that it'll make her look bad. And Shannon says, wow, you're just so cruel. And Tamra says, oh, shut up. Then she's like putting her hand up in the air towards Shannon's face. And Shannon says, don't you dare. And then Tamra says, bye, bye. Bye to you, Tamra. This is Shannon's trip. So Shannon then goes to the restroom and she says that she's done with Tamra. At this point, it looks like Tamra's only mission and goal is to destroy Shannon. You know, I saw this since last week. It's crazy how Tamra has no compassion. She could literally see someone completely going, just losing all their emotions, and she's just gonna sit there and show nothing. Wow, horrible. Is Shannon perfect? No, but damn. So they go back to the hotel. Emily had a super funny idea for all the ladies to text their husbands and say, I'm naked, how quick can you get there? So they all sent the exact same text and they had to read what the husbands' different responses were, and those were pretty funny. Then they go take their clothes off and they're just dancing and doing all that. So that was it for the night. Emily said they wanted to sleep like at 4 a.m. So that was that. It is then the next morning and they're all waking up pretty late because they had a long fun night. Emily and Tamra went down to the street to buy some smoothies, and Emily tells Tamra to be the bigger person and stop attacking Shannon. Back in the hotel room, though, Shannon and Gina go to Jen's room, and Shannon says that last night was typical Tamra Dutch behavior. She'll hurt you, try to comfort you, and then months later try and tell you that she wants to apologize and that she misses you. Shannon says that she has experienced this behavior for over 10 years and she's tired of it. Then Shannon reveals something to Jen, something that Jen should know. It's a text from Tamra Judge where it shows that she's been contacting people to try and get a background check on Ryan to pretty much destroy him. Jen was just so shocked. She was angry, upset, furious. I mean, everything. Gina even says, like, this is this is not normal behavior. You guys, it's not. It's psychotic behavior. So Jen leaves her room and goes straight to Tamara's room where Tamara was getting her hair done with Heather. And Jen says, you were doing a background check on Ryan? And Tamara's like, no, 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 no. I wasn't. I didn't. I saw on my kids. And Jen says, I just saw it. F you. And Tamara says, well, listen, it wasn't an investigator. It was a real estate agent. I wanted to do a background on his real estate career. And Jen says, it doesn't matter. Why do you care? What does your husband even do? Y'all, Jen was livid. I never heard her scream like this. Tamara then starts clapping and says, I'm glad you found your voice. Being condescending. That alone deserved, a slap. I'm gonna be honest, if Jen decided to slap Tamara, I think that would have been justified. So Tamara tries to explain herself, and Jen says, your obsession with him is weird. It's effing weird. Tamara says, okay, I just asked if he had a license in real estate. Jen says, I am so done with you, with your low-level BS. And then she walks out and says, you need to grow up and leave my family alone. My kids are with me. They're happy. Leave me the F alone. I want no part of your BS. And to you, Heather, the only reason she's friends with you right now is because you're in front of her right now. F you, B. And she just leaves. Wow. Well deserved. That was a lot, but I'm glad Jen defended herself, her family, and her man, Ryan. Woof! Listen, you guys, this was a lot I'm telling y'all, OC, top quality. Every single episode this week, top quality. But I want to say, though, like I said, and I said this last time too, is Ryan shady? Yes, but it definitely, sure as hell, is not going to be Tamra Judge who's going to be out here trying to, put this out there, because she's not a good person. And just how she's been doing Shannon and Heather, the way she does the girls as well. At this point, when they come back to the US, they can leave Tamra and Heather in London. But anyway, you guys, let me know what your thoughts were about this episode. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. You have a great one. Bye.